Ladies and gentlemen, here we are in the Cobb Galleria Center here in Atlanta, and this is a fabulous facility. We'll just take a shot here of the building and let you take a look. It is so pretty. It's really spectacular architecture. And here, of course, is the Safari Club International show this weekend. And here we are out front of the opening to the convention center. And we have, of course, admission of Bill Waters, the director of the local chapter, or I say the Georgia chapter. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here is a picture, certainly a picture, a painting of an elephant in its own animal skin from Africa, and this is at the auction tonight. A very impressive piece of work.
Do you have any of those envelopes left from last night?
Now, friends, I'm going to introduce you up close and personal here to a warthog, and this is one, basically. In fact, this thing is so ugly, it's ugly, it's beyond ugly. I think the only one who could appreciate a warthog would be its mother. And they have some very pretty animals out here. So well done. Got some books on display. Well, if you want to set up on your shoulder, or just ever how you want to do it to be comfortable. That's the beauty part about this deal. It is flexible.
Yes, sir.
Now, okay, here we go. Take two. Edit. 3, 2, 1. Well, ladies and gentlemen, here we are inside this beautiful convention center, in fact, here in Atlanta. And I'm standing with a friend of ours. This is Dr. Bill Waters. And today, how about Safari Club hunter Bill Waters?
There you go.
And we appreciate so much coming down here with you folks. Well, Bill, to tell you the truth, a lot of our people, and myself included, have not been that familiar with what the Safari Club did. So why don't you tell us, one, you're the head of the state chapter, am I correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
All right. Well, tell us what the Safari Club does and sort of what you folks stand for.
Safari Club was initially started more or less as a social club way back when, and we soon became aware, like so many other organizations, of the need for regional and political action and personal action regarding wildlife conservation issues. Basically, I think Safari Club's stance can best be explained by considering that we feel that the future of wildlife is safest in the hands of those who have shown that they're going to protect wildlife for the rest of time. And any way you want to slice it, when you sit down and look at the facts, that's the American hunter. You know, you have a unique situation in America and other countries, I'm sure you're aware. The average guy can't go out and hunt. In Austria and Switzerland and certain other countries, only the wealthy get to hunt. In America, everybody can hunt. And once they've grounded themselves in basic principles of wildlife management, ethics, conservation, and safety, should be allowed to hunt and to do so within limits, as they wish. Safari Club realizes, along with our sister organizations such as the National Rifle Association and others, that the average American, the average armed American, is a safe, responsible, ethical individual, and of course there are those who bear arms who aren't that way in the very vast minority, but of course it's we who abhor those more than anybody.
Certainly so. Well, you know what you said a moment ago about hunters, people who are taking care of wildlife. If it were not for the hunters, we would not even have. Look at the white-tailed deer. The figures for that.
Here they are, right here. Okay. This is the flip side of our application, and just as an example, less than 500,000 white-tailed deer existed in the early 1900s. We've now got 27 million creatures, white-tailed deer.
Thanks to hunters. Largely thanks to hunters.
Pittman-Robertson Act, Theodore Roosevelt got together with some guys and put together the Pittman-Robertson Act. So taxes are enacted on firearms, ammunition, fishing equipment, everything that you use for sporting endeavors, as well as game tags, local, regional, state, and federal tags and licenses. That's what pays for wildlife management, conservation, game officials, etc.
Well, a lot of the animal rights groups really don't do anything that is helpful to animals themselves. Some of these people get out and shout and jump around and complain and carry on, but when it comes down to actually doing something for the general animal population, improving their habitat, improving the basic structure of the animal family, the hunter's done more than anybody.
You're right. I mean, people for the ethical treatment of animals or the Humane Society don't do anything for habitat in Canada. Ducks Unlimited does that. Wild waterfowl conservation, Quail Unlimited. I mean, look at the organizations we've got. I'm so proud to be associated with, in addition to Safari Club, that are our sister organizations. Quail Unlimited, Trout Unlimited, the National Wild Turkey Federation, the Ruffed Grouse Society, Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, which handles all kinds of elk habitat for us, and these are very strong in concert altogether. These are very strong lobbying groups, and people say, well, they just want to do that because they want to hunt. We want to do that because we want animals to always be here. The reason that the elephant in Africa is doing as well as it is because there is a market to hunt them. Personally, I'm not an elephant hunter, but those that are, protect them.
I talked to someone a little while ago that people don't realize it, but elephants have to be culled.
That's right.
Because they get too many for a particular area, and people don't realize. And of course, it's the hunter who is so helpful in keeping the strength of the herd improving.
That's right. Kenya, for example, it doesn't allow hunting, hires government colors to go in there and shoot them and let them ride. In Zimbabwe, or one of the more enlightened countries where they have solid game management principles, you go in and a guy goes in and takes an elephant, harvests an elephant, and that's going to be somewhere between a $6, depending on the animal and area, between a $6 and a $22,000 trophy fee, in addition to the daily fees they pay, infused into the regional and national economy. You feeding 2 villages for 3 weeks.
They eat them.
they don't want that animal to die. They want that guy to hunt him, and they get to eat the meat, and they get the money, and it's a win-win-win deal.
Well, unfortunately, we're having a very, very small percentage of our population is against hunting. We have, and this is so important to do with what you're doing and with our show, we're letting people who don't know much about hunting say, well, why? Here's why we do it. So many people living in urban areas now who are not exposed to the outdoors, who really don't know, but we need to tell them why.
Yeah. Well, it's really all linked in, Johnny. It's really...
Hold it, just one. Irv, how you doing? You tired? Is your shoulder messing with you? That's okay.
We can get David to fill in if you need us.
If you need to take a moment and breathe, that's okay.
All right.
Punch your... Okay, edit. Back in, edit. 3, 2, 1.
Well, that's a very good point. In my daily work, I see it's really a bigger problem that we're really talking about, Johnny, when you're talking about organizations like PETA, people for the ethical treatment of animals, who I think the vast majority of those people are probably very well-intentioned, big-hearted folks. But they got, my understanding is that they've had their nonprofit status removed by the government because all of their money is going for political and propaganda support. We don't have that problem because our money goes for wildlife. Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation doesn't have that problem because their money goes for wildlife.
Well, you know what, Bill? What we have found, and our program Realize the Shooting Show goes, where it's kind of like the Starship Enterprise. Years ago, they used to say they went where no one's ever been before. Well, we take guns where essentially guns...
We're formerly no rational man.
That's right. Well, we take shooting where it's never been before in the areas, and you know what? We find out that the American people can make a right decision. They know what to think if they're presented with the facts. Our problem is, and so much of the organized media, is getting the real facts of what they in fact are. And we find, hey, people will make the right decision. we still think that the government does not know more than us.
I think you're right. You know, Johnny, as you and I have talked about before, it's interesting to me that our forebears left a very tightly governed structure in Europe where they were serfs, and come over here to America to be kings, and became kings of their own little domain, and now everybody seems to want to be a serf again. I really don't understand that mentality.
Well, what I think is there's a little percentage of people that wants to make us all serfs.
Well, I think that's right.
And the basic individual, see, we still think that the individual has some worth. You know, in our country here, we've had a devaluing of human life in a number of areas, and we won't get started on that, but y'all know what I'm talking about. We're devaluing the sanctity of the individual.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's just like we've lost so many moral values in our families. When you break down that brick in society, if your basic building blocks, such as family values, when that breaks down, how can the wall stand if, in fact, the bricks are no good?
That's right.
And that's what's happening. And, you know, that's one of the things, of course, we're a gun show primarily, but there's a lot of stuff that goes along with that. And this is one of the reasons that we're here this weekend going to, let's tell people what you folks do.
Well, that's right. You know, but you know what you're talking about is right. It's a war. What we're fighting, whether you're fighting it in the hunting community or in the pro-gun community, of which I'm very active in both, is you're fighting the same mindset, which is that the individual should not have the right or responsibility or freedom to, and of course we oppose that with all vigor.
Well, it seems that so many times when we'll we'll give up a responsibility that we would normally have to the government, well, there's a price to pay for that. And they take something. They take, for everything they give, the government always takes back a little more than you get.
That's right.
So you give up more, in fact, than what you get.
That's right.
So there's a little thing that I think people are not aware of, is does everyone in the Safari Club International, are they all, let's put it, is everybody rich in the Safari Club International? Does everybody have to go in Africa to hunt here?
Oh, no. I've never been to Africa, and I'm the president of Georgia Safari Club.
I mean, we'd all like to go. I mean,
Sure we would, but some, and of course, you know, with the Clinton health plan coming in, I don't know if I'll ever go. but no, not at all. I mean, look around. Most of the guys that I know here in our club, they go a lot of different places, but the vast majority of them hunt whitetails and dove and squirrels. You know, most of our best members are basically small game hunters. These are all individuals who want children to have cures for leukemia. We're talking about the same battle here. Whether you're talking about animal rights situation, they want responsible use of responsible and humane use of renewable animal resources is what you're talking about.
That's great. Well, sir, we appreciate so much being invited down here, and
we're just delighted for you to join us.
Well, I think a lot of people would like to see it, just what goes on at a Safari Club International meeting like this. We're going to be walking around with the camera.
Sure, show you around, introduce you to some fine folks.
It's really going to be an interesting project.
You won't find too many people here who are going to disagree with what we've had to say.
Well, probably not.
Johnny, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Bill. All right. Edit. 3, 2, 1. Well, here we are at the Sportsman's Adventures booth with a young man named Dave Holbrook. And Dave, now you're kind of in the TV business yourself, aren't you?
Well, yes. First of all, Sportsman Adventure has been in the business for 14, 15 years. We're international hunting consultants, and I've made television commercials on television that I've shown in Arizona. Through that, Buck McNeely of the Outdoorsman TV series.
Well, let's get a little plug. Now, Buck has been on for a number of years now. He has a general outdoors program.
Yes, hunting and fishing.
And it never hurts to help thy neighbor, as we were just talking with Irv there a moment ago. Doesn't hurt to help thy neighbor. Now, we've all had neighbors that we just soon not help, but certainly those of us who are in the hunting, shooting, anything to do with the outdoors media, I tell you what, we have to be sort of friendly because we don't need to be fussing among ourselves. We need to promote the general effort.
Exactly.
Now, of course, you have tapes, and you also, of course, I see a number of fabulous pictures here on hunts all over the world, looks like.
Exactly. Yeah, we're very proud of our business. And go back to Buck McNeely, Sportsman Adventure, and Buck McNeely now is putting together TV shows for Barnes Ammunition, for an example, Blackjack Knives, Remington Arms, and hopefully we're going to branch out and do more hunting and fishing shows around the world to televise and let people enjoy the outdoors, the great sport of hunting and fishing. It warms the heart. It's a great business, and I dearly love it.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dave, it's very nice to meet you. We wish you a lot of good luck.
You bet. It's a pleasure.
And always good to meet somebody else
Thank you.
helping promote what we do.
You bet. Thank you much.
All right, we are in. Give us a little lead time there. You know, it takes a minute for them things to come on. All right, edit. 3, 2, 1. Well, friends, you're going to recognize this young man standing next to me here is the one and only, the illustrious J.D. Jones from SSK Industries. And, of course, in fact, J.D. is responsible for getting the shooting show down here this weekend. He said it was going to be a great project. And, sir, I see you brought some of your toys here.
Some of the toys, right. But y'all are lucky, see, you just have to watch us. You don't have to put up with this guy.
Well, you know,
tomorrow's the fun day.
That's true. We're going to be out. We're going to be doing a feature with JD tomorrow, and of course, friends, you just have to see what this man makes. It is so impressive, and of course, we're going to find out. We're going to shoot some things tomorrow for our show this week. That really some spectacular things. You just like I said, JD, you have a catalog you send out, don't you? Or
Yeah, we've got a little brochure. It doesn't handle everything, but it's basic, just basic information on what we do.
All right, the best thing you folks can do is we're going to give you JD's phone number and address and write him for, is there a charge on your catalog? Or
No.
Okay. No. Now, they send them out. All it's going to cost you is a stamp or a phone call, because really it's some spectacular things that he has. And, of course, we're going to have fun out there tomorrow. So, sir, we appreciate you visiting with us. And,
Sure.
heck, we'll just see what we do tomorrow.
Always good to see you, Johnny.
I appreciate it, David. So, friends, here is our loyal crew. This is Herb Dykstra, and he's helping us today, assisting us in our interviews, and we appreciate it very much.
Do we have a booth here?
Yeah.
All right, let's let it run. Edit. 3, 2, 1. Now, friends, you see I'm standing here in front of this incredible couple of mounted animals here by a gentleman named Bud Jones from, he's a taxidermist from Tallapoosa, Georgia. And friends, this is fabulous to see this. And you know, this is a good illustration. All is not tranquil in the wild. In fact, talk about the ultimate hunter. Well, this lion here would probably be about as ultimate a hunter as I can imagine. And you can also get an idea of the size of these animals. Of course, this zebra here is about like a lot of our modern horses. And this lion, well, see, I'm 6'5". A lion's quite a bit bigger than me, I'll guarantee you. I would hate to meet this thing. So anyway, a fabulous representation of the lion is trying to get his dinner, I guess, there, but a really beautiful mounts from Bud Jones.
Just push this.
If it's up, it's on. We're there. All right. We're on here. Here we go. Edit. 3, 2, 1.
Well, Chuck, I'm sure glad to see you down here today, and I know what we're doing here is just getting an idea of what some of the things are going on with this convention that we got here for the Georgia Chapter Safari Club, and really want to thank you for being here. And I noticed that you make these kind of unique knives that are handmade, hand-forged. Would you mind telling us what kind of knives they are and how you make them and where you came about doing this thing?
Well, I got started in '79. Me and my wife moved to Alaska and lived in the bush. I always grew up with a knife as a boy, and I got started then making my own knives because I just wasn't satisfied with what I could buy. We moved back to North Carolina in 81, and right there in our community there's a craft school that teaches blacksmithing, and I wanted to know more about the temper in the knife and the steel, so I got started that way in the forging and blacksmithing. From there on, just snowballed. The more you learn, the more you want to know. So we stay up with kind of there's knife clubs like there are for the Safari Club International, and people get together and feed on each other and different ideas. And so back in the early 80s, I started taking old steel cables and logging cable. There's this big industry back home, and then you put it in the fire and heat it up to high enough heat, and you can forge weld it together into one solid piece. And it gives us somewhat of a Damascus looking appearance, and it makes somewhat of a Damascus structure to the knife. You can get it really hard, but yet it's real tough and will flex and not break on you. There's also the old technique of Damascus steel. There's multiple layers of hard and soft steel forge welded together and again in a forge and fire and hammer. And these little dots in here is some special patterns that I developed myself, and the technique of putting it into the steel to actually keep a defined pattern to it.
Right.
There's a lot of smiths in the country now that are doing some really amazing things beyond even writing your name with the steel itself.
Oh, yeah.
And still make an excellent knife. But just because a knife is cable or Damascus don't make it a good knife. Everything has to be followed from the beginning on out to make it a superior piece of steel.
Chuck. Well, Chuck, you're showing us some really neat things and talked about these things. How long does it really take you to put a real Damascus knife together? If you weren't using a cable, but you were using Damascus and folding it.
Well, I've made 3 knives. It took me 100 hours to make each knife. Of course, the longer you do it and the more expert you get at something, the easier and the quicker you can do it. I can make some of them. I can make a real simple Damascus knife in a day, some of them. But, I don't mean that it's anything really super. It's just going to be a plain.
But a good one that you would probably market at a show would be about how many hours would you put in?
Oh, 3 days at least.
3 days
Yeah.
of melting that metal together
Right,
and bringing it
hammering
down.
it and beating on it and welding it and forging it to shape. And then I file mine by hand and sand them by hand and use very little equipment to finish my knives.
Well, I'm glad you're here, and I hope you have a good show.
Thank you, Irv.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Sorry.
Well, Chuck, if someone would like to buy one of your knives, how would they get in touch with you?
My address, Irv, is P.O. Box 127, Brasstown, is in the middle, North Carolina, 28902. And my phone number is area code 704-837-7627.
Well, again, thanks an awful lot.
That's per pattern. Put that on the screen. Okay, edit. 3, 2, 1. Well, friends, here we are in the NRA booth with a lovely lady. This is E.J. Williams. And E.J., just tell us what you're doing here at the Safari Club International meeting today.
Well, I'm here discussing membership with people. We've got several levels of membership. Many of the Safari Club members are life members, and a lot of them participate in our Golden Eagle program, which is an additional level of giving that supports many of our programs. I'm also here, we've got some events coming up in the Atlanta area, so I'm here talking to people about those things.
Okay, now you're the regional representative for the NRA, is that correct? Okay,
That's
what areas
correct.
do you cover?
I cover Georgia and Alabama for the NRA.
Well, I tell you, we have met so many nice people here today. I know you enjoy doing a function like this. Well, it makes us feel better that there are so many concerned people. And really, if we can publicize a convention like this that has all this wildlife displayed so nicely and so well, we are going to make a difference in how the public perceives hunting. And I think that's essential.
Yes, sir. I think you're right. I'm an avid hunter, and that's where my primary interest comes in guns. Of course, I also believe in the right to keep and bear arms for self-protection, and it's very important.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. We've noticed quite a few of the ladies have been at a number of the booths. There are women. In fact, just out of curiosity, EJ. Now, EJ is shall we say, a petite young lady. But what sort of gun? What do you like to hunt?
essentially hunt whatever's in season. I enjoy wing shooting, and I shoot a little 20 gauge over and under.
Which is a very fine ladies' gun.
Yeah.
But the point is that I want to make about you, EJ is a very feminine person, and that's certainly a compliment to her. It's true. She's a lovely and very feminine person. So just because somebody can still be a lady, they can still be a hunter. You know.
And I love to deer hunt, and I dress my own animals. I don't trust anybody else. They mess things up.
Well, we appreciate visiting with you here today, and we wish you a lot of luck at the show. And hey, let's get some more women involved, huh?
Well, we're at an all-time high for women membership with the NRA, and we've got many programs that are directly aimed at women and addressing our women members. So that's one of our primary concerns.
We're all for it. So thanks for visiting with us today.
Thank you.
Taki Vandermeer is one of our exhibitors that we've got at our convention going on here in Atlanta today. And Taki, I really want to thank you for being here and being one of our sponsors and making a donation to our fundraiser that we'll have tonight. But Taki, what I'd like to ask you is to give the viewers some idea of what you do as a professional hunter in Zimbabwe, and the animals and the trophies that are available on a safari, and whether it's as expensive as a lot of people think. It's very expensive to go, and we know that it's where you're going as to what kind of expense you're looking at when you consider a safari to Africa. Would you mind?
Okay, basically what happens, there's I've got two 14-day type hunts where there's a dangerous animal involved, namely a leopard, on the one 14-day hunt, and a buffalo on the other 14-day hunt, and then the guy can take a whole range of plains game with that as well. The buffalo hunt on a 14-day, you could think of maybe spending as much as $15,000 to $16,000 on a hunt like that. But then you must probably back, say, up to 12 or even 15 animals. But the least would be, say, maybe 8 or 9 animals, you see. Okay. But then you can also come on a 7-day hunt, maybe a 10-day hunt. A 10-day hunt could run you all told maybe, say, $8,000 or $9,000, and you could have a lot of fun in a 10-day hunt.
Well, Taki, your area that you're a professional hunter, how long have you been a professional hunter you're in Zimbabwe,
is that correct?
Zimbabwe. And how long have you been a professional hunter in Zimbabwe?
I've been a licensed hunter in Zimbabwe since 1981.
1981.
Yeah.
And I know that you've taken an awful lot of the members of the Georgia chapter on safaris down there, and we really appreciate you being here and coming back over and spending time with us. And I'm sure that we'll get your name to the public, and hopefully that you'll have a good season while you're here again.
Thank you. That's very nice.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
It's right there for a second. And what's y'all's last name?
Childers. Tommy and Craig.
Tommy and Craig. All right. Got all three of us on there, sir. We're on. All right. Hit it. 3, 2, 1. Well, friends, we found some friends of ours here. We have Tommy and Craig Childers from here, and they're viewers of the Shootin' Show. And very nice to meet you fellas today. How are you enjoying the convention?
Great. It's great.
It's nice, isn't it?
Sure is.
We're so impressed. The facility is so nice, and the good news is, heck, you can even get here. The 285 is right out there.
Real convenient.
Now, are you folks members of the local chapter of Safari Club?
Yes, sir. We're members of this chapter
here in Atlanta.
Yes, sir.
Great. Well, we appreciate nice to meet you gentlemen, and it's always good for us to go out and meet some of our viewers, and I'll tell you what, we have some fine people to watch this show. We appreciate every one of you. Good to take my coat off. It's 3, 2, 1.
Well, Jack, Jack Crockford, I'd like to introduce to you all, because Jack has been the retired director of the Game and Fish Department from the state of Georgia, And Jack is probably the most responsible person that we've had, and is the most responsible person that we had in the state of Georgia for reintroducing the white-tailed deer. And I know all of our Georgia hunters are really appreciative of what you have done for us, Jack. But now that he's retired, also he's gone into the knife making business and happens to make some real quality knives. And Jack, we appreciate you being here.
Well, thank you, Herb.
But Jack, I really would like to hear a little bit about how you worked with the white-tailed deer and got them to be repopulated into the state of Georgia.
Well, Herb, it's a long story. And let me say first, we had a lot of good help. But I came here, one of the early, in fact, the second wildlife biologist. And our job was to conduct a survey and find out what we could do to improve the situation. It was very obvious that we had a great potential for deer in the state, and at the time they nearly were gone. In fact, I spent a year in the woods the first year in 47 without even seeing a deer. So it became obvious that this is one area we ought to put our effort, and we began then, and the restoration program went through probably till about 1970, at which point we were
1970.
I would say we were over the hill about that time, but it turned out pretty well, and we're all very proud of it.
Well, I know I am. Jack, didn't you take deer from other states to introduce them and get a different kind of a gene pool in the state of Georgia?
Or we took deer anywhere we could get them. They, in those days, there wasn't a great source of deer. There are deer here from Pisgah, North Carolina, Wisconsin, the King Ranch in Texas, one other ranch that escapes me at the moment in Texas. And of course, we had some on our coastal islands and a few down in the deep south swamps, but not many, and they were very difficult to catch. And at one point, we even got some deer from a circus that had them in a ring. And
speaking about catching these deer, Jack, I know you had some input into the making of the gun that you used to dart the deer with and this type thing. I think you've been credited with being one of the founders of that gun.
Yeah,
right?
I'm one of the inventors. We started out trying to trap deer with the conventional methods that were successful in the north, and frankly they just don't work down here because you don't ever get deer in that condition that they're easily trapped. And it became obvious we had to do something different, and the dart gun was the answer. And once it became effective, we'd shoot from 100 to 300 deer a year on our coastal islands, Jekyll Island, St. Catherine's, Ossabaw, and had a great source of deer there, starting in about, the first deer we caught with a dart was, I believe, 1953, and we trapped each year off those islands. And at the same time, of course, we were bringing in deer from wherever we could get them, Wisconsin, Texas, as I said. So, and that probably does have some bearing on the genetics, and we do have some terribly big deer here. And in fact, when we first opened the Middle Georgia area, it had been closed, had been no hunting there, and the deer herd was 15 to 20 years old, and there were some tremendous deer killed then, and some of the antlers still surface every now and then out of somebody's attic or a filling station that was an animal from those first early hunts. And of course there are still some big deer scattered through that country and on south. So it's been a successful program, and I think been good for all of us.
Well, I know it has, Jack, and I know that I've enjoyed chasing those critters, and I guess I ought to say thanks to you because I wouldn't have had that opportunity if we didn't have your dedication for getting it done.
Thank you very much. It was fun.
Well, your knives, Jack, that you're making, I know that you got different makes and models and this type thing, and I'm certain that that the people could see the metal work and the work that you do with your knives, that they probably want one. So I'm pretty sure we can get your name and address down here where folks can call you.
It's something I took up after I retired, and I hope I'm getting better at it, and at least I know I'm having a lot of fun building them.
Well, Jack, if they wanted to get one of your knives, where could they write to you? Or?
Oh yeah, you bet. They could write me at my home address is in Chambly.
All right. Jack Crockford.
Crockford, yeah.
Jack, what was the address of those?
Well, I build them at home. It's a hobby, and my address there is 1859 Harts Mill Road, Chambly, 30341. I even have a phone. It's 404-457-4680. And I enjoy building them, and particularly to somebody that has some idea of some special kind of knife he'd like. I particularly enjoy building folders. I build more of them than the long straight knives, but I'm always happy to work on anything new, and thank you.
Well, Jack, we really appreciate it. Jack Crockford, thanks again.
Thank you.
This is Shootin Hunting Company in Alberta, Canada. Edit 3, 2, 1. Now, friends, I'm just walking around taking pictures, and you see this chandelier made of horns. They look like elk or deer horns, and it is most impressive. And we're at a booth here where all sorts of things are made from outdoors type materials, and it is really interesting. All right, edit 3, 2, 1. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is Miss Gail Flynn, and she's an exhibitor here, of course, with some of these most unusual, different household furnishings, I suppose, would be the best way. So, Gail, tell us what your business is about.
I make naturally shed antler furniture, lighting, and accessories, all species of antler.
Well, ma'am, I'd like to report that your handiwork is just excellent. If someone is interested in finding out more about your product line, how can they do that?
They can call me at area code 404-491-0929. It's Gail Flynn, and Flynn Devereaux is the name of the company.
Well, Gail, I think some of our viewers would be most interested in some of the things that you're offering.
I hope so. Thank you very much. We take great pride in our product line.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
They cut the awful lot around there. It's going somewhere. They ain't building the houses in Washington. We don't have enough people. There's no turnover.
Where is this bear from? You have any idea?
David River area in Alaska.
Oh, okay, an Alaskan bear. Well, he is a pretty thing, isn't he?
He's nice looking. We don't really have the lighting in here to really show him. We need something coming in from the front on him. There's no front lighting in here. It's all straight down. He just doesn't show his face off and nose worth a flip in here. Just dead down lighting.
Say 3, 2, 1. Friends, we're here with Lloyd Johnson, and Lloyd, this is your bear, isn't it?
Well, it's customer's bear. I'm animal.
And Lloyd is in the taxidermy business, and let me tell you what, friends, this is a grizzly bear. Tell us about that briefly, if you would, Lloyd.
The grizzly bear was killed by Mr. Wayne Rayford out of North Augusta, South Carolina. Killed it last April in David River area of Alaska. He's had it in his office since day after Thanksgiving, and we picked it up and brought it to the show.
Well, sir, I'd like to say that your work is exemplary. Where is your business, Lloyd?
Masters Wildlife Service is located on the square in Washington, Georgia.
In Washington, Georgia, about 100 miles from Atlanta here.
Right, it's 100 miles east of Atlanta. It's the county seat of one of the original counties here in Georgia. The building I'm in is almost 100 years old.
My goodness.
The town's over 200 years old.
Well, Lloyd, good to meet you here today. Hope you're having a good show.
Thank you very much.
Lloyd, in fact, won an award for this doe, in fact, in the snow. This is a most impressive. And Lloyd, when I say mounting, am I correct on that? That's what these are called, mounting.
They're mounts. They're not really stuffed anymore. You preserve the skin and put it over a mannequin, just like a mannequin in a clothing store. You don't put a size 14 dress on an 8 mannequin. You don't go the other way around.
That dog might
It's $80,000 kiss goodbye.
Yeah.
But it cut.
I don't feel
Did you ahead and give it? But right now, they didn't give me the money. So I'm sort of, I'm going to say a strong term, you can't change the law or something like that.
Since we're here just for fun, they have King of Mountain Sports. This is David and Tricia Waldrop, and they're down in Columbus, Georgia. And friends, they have some warm clothing. Most impressive. They have wool vests and things like that. David, you forgot to smile.
I'm trying to smile.
I'm just kidding. Very nice.
Hats.
All kinds of things. If someone was interested, now friends, if you're interested in some tremendously warm, in fact probably the warmest clothing that money can buy, you might give the King of the Mountain Sports here, give David a call. And David, tell us what your phone number is, sir.
I'm at 706-643-5155, Columbus, Georgia.
Columbus, Georgia. Well, sir, it's nice to meet you folks, and we wish you a lot of good luck with the show.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Appreciate it.
Just 1 second.
All right.
Eddie at 3, 2, 1.
I'm Wayne Telefero. I'm booking hunts for Simon Safaris, which is out of Vadewater, South Africa, about 3 hours north of Johannesburg. We hunt 4 provinces of South Africa, along with Zambia, Zimbabwe, Tanzania, and Namibia.
Well, Wayne, it really looks impressive. If someone would like information about safaris, a lot of us are curious about, we want to talk to somebody who knows about safaris. How could they get in touch with you?
I'd be happy to give you my phone number. I'm here in Atlanta, 404-739-7601, and be happy to mail you any kind of information that you might need, brochures, photographs.
And a safari may not be quite as expensive as a lot of people think. Is that correct?
A lot of people think that a safari will start around $10,000 and go on up from there. You can do a 7-day safari with 7 animals for $6,000 to $7,000, which is less than a lot of the stateside hunts for moose, elk, and that kind of thing.
Well, sir, we're going to give the folks your phone number there one more time.
All right, that's Simon Hunting Safaris. My name is Wayne Talaferro. It's 404-739-7601.
Thanks, Wayne.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Jet. Hit it. 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, Johnny. Jerry Martin, one of the managers for Rich's Fur Department, and we are here with the Safari Club show. We're a department store based in Atlanta, Georgia, selling furs to all the wonderful women in Atlanta, and the business is still booming despite efforts from any anti-fur people. We cannot stop selling enough.
Well, you have some real pretty things here, Jerry. I want to compliment your selection.
Thank you.
And now, where are you in Atlanta? Of course, we have a number of viewers in this area, so.
Right. Our first salons are located at Lenox Square Mall, one of the leading malls, as well as Perimeter Mall. And this is a department store over 50 years old in Atlanta, and the customers.
Well, you just be real pleased, I'm sure.
Right, it's just not fur sales. We are a full-service furrier.
Okay, well, great. So you can clean them and take care of them as well.
Store them, right, repair them, all the aspects of the business.
Well, friends, they do have such a pretty selection. And if you're in the Atlanta area, well, and you like fur coats, I think it would behoove you to stop by and see them. Hit it. 3.
My name is Jack Lesher. I'm the proprietor of Chuck's Firearms. My father and I founded our business in 1971. Before that, I had grown up in the firearms business, and we specialized in high-quality sporting arms, primarily long rifles and related accessories, for the past well over 20 years. Some of the products we feature are unique to a lot of the other stores in the region. We specialize in high-quality collectible rifles, custom-built rifles from a number of manufacturers, and shotguns. One of the programs that we've done through the years is we now have 3rd and 4th generation customers that come to see us, and we specialize in a one-on-one relationship with our customers.
Jack, where are you located, sir?
I'm at 281 Buckhead Avenue. That's right in the heart of Buckhead, right off Peachtree Street. And we've been in that same location since '71. Really enjoy it. I've always enjoyed the relationship that we have with our customers, and how when you come in my store, either you know me or the friend that sent you knew me so well, and that's just the way we like to do business.
Well, sir, personal service is worth a lot. I don't care what you're doing, especially in our business.
I think so. I really do. So we found a niche in that. We can only serve a certain portion of the public, but it's that public who wants that service and quality products that comes to see us.
Well, sir, good to meet you, and
good to see you.
Know that you're having a good show.
Well, I hope so. We always do. We always do. E.J. Merkel. It's a 12 gauge with a set of 20 gauge spare barrels. It's one of only 2 in the country. They make an excellent shotgun, and they're famous for the durability and the reliability of their locks. This is the shotgun I shoot. It's a little 201 EJ, straight stock, double trigger, articulating front trigger, and solid grip. Hammer forged barrels, and they're well known for their strength and reliability of their actions and their locking setup. You'll never see a shot loose Merkel, just like a bank ball, designed for generations. The forend is really slim on these shotguns because instead of having a full forend that comes off, it uses a 3-piece forend. So you have a piece here, here, and here, so it doesn't have to go around the barrels. I grew up shooting this style of shotgun, and it's just what I've stayed with. They're certainly my favorite.
All right. We're out here taking a few pictures of evening crowd. We're getting ready to go in for the banquet now. And, a lot of people in tuxedos, some in ladies in their evening type dresses. Some very nice people. Shot of water. And ladies and gentlemen, here's the NRA. This is the best looking NRA representative I have ever seen. And she's also, now of course she's married, don't nobody write. but she's as nice and as pretty as she can be. Isn't that a neat outfit?
Now wait a minute.
We're just going to do the whole smear here. That's what they do for the model. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Candy, a lady here at the convention, an absolutely lovely person.
I know people who had a lot to do with the new membership drive that we just concluded. Buddy Hobbs, Buddy, where are you? You need to come up and see your hand. There you go. Thank you. Now, Buddy, you want a Pentax camera. Same time I take on my hunting trips. You haven't been fortunate enough to take a picture of Goodness Rocket, but I know it's in your hands, it'll take one. Buddy signed up 6 new members. Dick, where are you? You're up on the stage. There you go. Then you also win a Pentax camera for signing up members. And part of the membership drive that we had, everyone who signed up as a member got their name put in a hat. And I'm going to ask Vern Dykstra. Vern is within shouting distance. Come on up here. What we're going to draw for is the grant. Everyone who signed up as a member has their name in a little brown bag here. Vern's going to draw the first name, and that will be for the Pentax 3x9 scope that was so generously put by Russell gave it. There you go. I need some help on these. So here it is for the winner of the 3x9 scope is going to be Jeff, are you here? Jeff here? All right, we'll have to get his scope to him. All right, political correctitude no longer allows us to take the middle ground. You've got to decide, are you anti-hunting or are you pro-hunting? Are you Janet Reno or are you E.J. Whittier? Exactly. I know my choice on that one. Political correctitude and opinion of that it is as a direct result of the American hunt that we have the wildlife numbers that we have today. And as a direct result of the responsible use of renewable animal resources that we have the cures in medicine that we have today, and both are under attack by the same people for the same reason. Both are under attack today by the same people for the same reason. People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals has lost their non-profit status because they're spending money on political things. We're spending our money on elk, whose numbers have gone from less than half a million at the turn of the century to more than 30 million animals. Antelope, who were once numbered on our plains 5,000 animals, are now stronger than a million. Elk have gone from 41,000 animals at the turn of the century to greater than 1 million. There are 4 million wild turkeys now, where once there were just a few. They were literally almost extinct. This is a result of the Pittman-Robertson Act and other acts, unselfish acts by sportsmen. It is these same acts which allow the proliferation of game species that protect these game species. So that when if you think there's no difference between that and cures for leukemia, then I would ask you to consider this point. When we look into the eyes of our children, what we want to be able to tell them is that you're not going to die of leukemia. And you're not going to die of leukemia. And you're not going to have any of these bad things happen to you because we have made provision. There's a group of people who have made a provision for these animals to always be there for their use, their compassionate use, responsible use to go on forever. Because we will protect these animals and they will protect us. There's a group of people out there who are going to make sure that that is always the case and that no one will turn that tide. And I can't tell you what an honor it is to be addressing that group of people. Welcome, folks. Tonight we have the pleasure of having with us our wonderful auctioneers. They did a great job for us last year. Mr. Joe Tilley, Mr. Steve Walraven, and Mr. Garmin Oates. Come on up here, folks. Let's get rolling.
Thank you, Bill. What a great job. Isn't this a beautiful banquet? You're having a good time. Turn your chairs around so you can see us. Don't face that wall. Look towards me. You can't buy anything looking that way. David Bowden said he has 6 more tickets to sell, David. Where are you, baby? Hold your hand up right down here. Here goes 2 of them right here. See one. Catches, where else? 6 more tickets. There goes 2. Where's the other 4? Right quick. Buy these tickets. One more guy with $100 right quick. Where are you? Take all the way up right there. There he is over there. F2. He's first. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Now we got that pig head out of the way. Everybody having a good time. Looking good. All right. Beautiful, beautiful crowd. So we got some first timers here tonight. I understand we got some folks never been to an auction before. Raise your hand for your first time here, including this man down front here. Give me a where are you, sir? I see all these folks. All right. Folks, I'm going to let you get first every time. Make sure you raise your hand. We'll get a little low. First timers raise your hand. I'll tell you when to do it. And we'll help you go home with some beautiful merchandise. All right, we're taking checks, credit cards, and money. Bill says we'll take cash. All right. It's great to be with you again, and we're going to have EJ and her lovely husband back there. Mr. Dean, they're going to be catching bids back across the back there to make sure that you get to one of them. Steve Wall, you're down here on Long Oaks. Make sure we see your bid, and if we have a tie bid, we'll stop and start back over. We'll have the tie between those 2 bidders about the tie bids, okay? Anybody have any questions before we start? One more quick point. We'll have a runner come out and give you a receipt back quick, okay, on the item that you bought, okay? We got those runners and they have tickets there ready to go. All right, I'm holding you. Read to us.
All right, folks, number 1 on your auction list. Everybody got an auction list? A drop camp elk hunt. They're going to pack you in. This is Mike Smith and Bartley Creek Outfitters. First-rate outfit that enjoys a very good reputation. You're going to go in there and find a propane cooking equipment, wood cut and stack, tent set up, ready to go for a bow hunt in the Deer Lodge National Park. That's when the elk are bugling, folks. We're going to sell this hunt tonight. It's in Montana. It's going to be from the date September 2 through 9, 1994, for 100. There is a 200 minimum on bid.
All right, and Rod Neighbors is sitting right back there. Raise your hand, Rod, one of the guys, and he'll give you the paperwork before you leave tonight. Make sure you got your license and everything in stock, and before you go. Who'd like to open this up for $1,000 and impress everybody at your table? Give me a $1,000 bid, please. Let's start this thing. Let's go. $1,000 here. Well, who'll give $750 right quick? $750, would you say $750? Would you give $500? That's $500 right over here. All right, thank you, sir. Don't you leave the room. We got 5 now, sitting high.